just come in there and look for knockoffs, and that's not the case. You know, I'm actually a sharp, smart fighter.
So, well, I'm here. Who wanted to fight me?
I really don't care who's in front of me. I don't feel like no fighter can beat me.
Our goal is to demolish everybody, to be honest. Everybody that's in my way. The pinnacle to any weight division is to have all the belts, all of the titles.
Welcome to Body Work. Welcome back. It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to Body Work Boxing. It feels so good to be back. Man, I said, man, you know, I was debating, okay, are you going to go back into your normal thing where you doing your videos, or you going to do some more live? And I was going back and forth for myself. And I said, yeah, I think I need to do more lives. See, the lives are the glue to the story here in boxing. And this is the pulse of boxing. And I admit, just like certain styles in boxing, the style and the approach that I take when it comes to YouTube boxing online can be perceived just like some of the performances that we actually get to see in boxing. As a boxing purist, when somebody's feeding you nothing but facts, yes, they interject their opinion, but they use numbers, data, analysis, historical record, things that today's generation don't tend to value. When they do that, they tend to say that you are boring. That's why, as a fan and a content creator and a boxing purist, somebody like myself would catch grief if I had any criticism for what we seen when Shakur Stevenson performed against Artem Harutyunyan. Because on one end, I'll say, man, he pitched a shutout. You can't give him less than an A by definition when you grade the criteria, which people can't really remove their emotions from the situation. When you grade by the 4 types of scoring criteria, and then you go back, and not only do you look at the numbers, not only do you look at the CompuBox numbers, the hit and not get hit, but then you also trust what your own eyeballs have seen, and then you render a judgment to where performance-wise, numbers-wise, statistic-wise, you could not give Shakur Stevenson anything less than an A. But in today's day in boxing, people want you to be box office when you're really just there to get the job done. Like when you work with people like that, like I don't like working with people who just there to get the job done. And yeah, I mean, it might come off to where somebody working with me, like, it might be a rumor that, yo, man, this guy, man, he do too much when he on the job and he do this. It's like, no, don't touch, don't put my hands on extra stuff. But I treat facilities, when I attend facilities, I treat the facility as if I lived in that building, that commercial building. I treat the facility as if, like, man, if I was attending in that place, how would I want the technician that was on site to treat that? That's how I do. But somewhere along the lines, like, customer service is missing in boxing. And it's a new era, it's a new date, it's a new time in the sport of boxing where customer service from the boxer, because remember, we're the customers, we're the buying people, we're the ones that tune in and engage and give our feedback and put our hard-earned money. Where I see 9-to-5 workers getting this, getting down, getting their opinions don't matter because they've never put on a set of gloves. Like when all actuality, you probably beat more people to sleep than anybody. Like, so what? You put on headgear and get in the ring. You might have put your hands on more people and knocked more motherfuckers out than the person that's been in the gym 196 rounds. You could have been deployed to two hostile environments. Like you could have been in a real desert storm. That don't matter in today's. Like what matters in today's society is what you say on social media. How you portray yourself on social media. If you really get it popping and your name is, because I've heard that as long as you stay relevant, as long as people talking about you, I'm like, yeah, okay, that's one of the 48 laws of power. But remember, it's 48 laws of power. It's not just one. So the one where like people love to harp and get in the lane of where any publicity is good publicity, aka the Jerry Jones effect, aka ironically, a person that was born in DC, raised in PG County, the Redskins get the same vibe. Any publicity is good publicity. No, yeah, that's in the 48 laws of power. But when you, if you want to indulge and base everything on the 48 laws of power, then yeah, okay, cool. But you got to remember, that's only one of the laws of 48 power. Any publicity is good publicity. Because you could be in the news for like what I think somebody like Megan Good should be in right now. Even though I try to keep it boxing, but when you look at her from head to toe, it's like everything's been changed. Cosmetic surgery, Botox, fake eyelashes, a chin job, a cheek job, a boob job, a butt job, liposuction, possible bulimia, whatever. I mean, from head to toe. But in order to keep getting roles, in order to continue to be on that stage, oh, you're gonna have to play your part. You're gonna have to do what we tell you to do. So even when we see people get online and they do dumb things, I have realized one thing. People do not really mind when you slander other people. They'll let you go. They'll eat, knowing in their mind, in their broker, knowing that, hey man, I should say something. Hey man, I should say, hold on, man, but hold on, wait. Let me just see where they going with this, because like that's not all the way true. People will allow you to slander somebody that they don't like, but they will not allow you to tell the truth about somebody that they do. Let me run it back. Let me slow it down, because if you was on the slow bus, some of y'all might have missed it. I just dissed you. Some people will allow slander against somebody that they don't like. Only they will not allow you to tell the truth on someone that they do. Yeah. Hit dogs holler. You know, I'm not part of any tribe. You can't say no. Oh man, these is all the guys from PBC, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm all in. No. Oh, these are all the guys from Matron, and you be like, oh, these the guys from Top Rank. I'm not part of tribalism. The minute I recognize it, I'm off. I'm done. I'm gone. Everybody out here doing what they got to do for money, for bread, to survive, to do whatever they do. But this new era of boxing, it's a whole new era of boxing. Like it's a whole new. That's why I said these are the young guns. And with the young guns, when these are the barometer of what everything should be, when you looking down and you telling somebody, hey man, this is what you should be. This is what you blah blah blah. Yes, in one breath, yes. If you come from New Jersey, if you come from Norfolk, if you come from them areas, those areas where poverty is rampant. If you come from those areas and you say yes, this is what you can be. Excellent, beautiful, solid message. It's nothing to go against with that, because most people don't leave the environment that they've been in. You have people out here that can have an expert opinion on this, expert opinion on that, this and that, all the other. They've never been in a foreign country before. They haven't even visited all of the states in this country. But they can tell you how you should feel about your boxing opinion. That's when politics and religion and anything else you want to bond together and synchronize with, because they help push your agenda, or you feel a part of a clan or a posse or a pack. That's cool. But when you use critical analysis, when you break down data, when you've worked with diverse backgrounds, when you already understand and know and experienced, even today, hours before I came live, when you've experienced something that would be deemed as racism, something that you would be deemed as not keeping it a buck, 10 times 10, 100, no more, no less. I'm not part of a tribe. I'll go out and I'll come back. It's like, you eat what you kill. That's how it is over here. You eat what you kill. When you go outside the doors, when you leave the confines of your own home, you going out, you hunting. You already know you a target. Either you a predator or you a prey. And those roles can reverse 6 or 7 times throughout the day, depending on where you at, who you with, what you got going on. Like, this is real life. These are things that should be injected in conversations in boxing, but since nobody are doing that when it comes to the boxing topics, I gotta come out and say these things so that it's a possibility everybody can stop it. Everybody can pivot. Everybody can be like, dang, let me put my thinking cap on and say, hold on, man, like, this don't make no sense. But people don't know, like, because everybody out here are using some form of tactic of gaslighting. That's why I always have to go back to it. And this is why I like, okay, cool. It's just like the one dude that I got put onto this one dude a couple years ago. And the very same thing that I was doing, he was doing. Except for he was doing it before I was doing it. Only when I stumbled across his videos and I started listening to what he was saying and how he was doing it, I had already been doing my thing. I had already been talking about stuff. I don't know if it was the algorithms or what, but I came across this stuff in Eureka. We were actually in the same city, Baltimore, Maryland. We was both up here in Baltimore. Only when it dawned on me that when I listened to the video, they said, dang, he had like when I finally got on to what he was doing, I think it was a couple of months, because they said he had passed about 6 months. I think I had probably been listening to him probably for about 8 months by that time. Didn't even know the man passed. But everything he was saying and doing in his videos and what his message and how he was going, I said, oh man, they ain't gonna rock with this. Man, he ain't getting no love for that. Why? Because that's not what YouTube boxing is about nowadays. This era of boxing is not about what goes on inside the ring. Oh, no. Just like politics, it's not who get in office, who gonna do the best thing for this person and that person. No, it's who can appeal to the masses beforehand and who can quell the masses afterhand when they can't deliver. Who can have the biggest social media following? Who can stay relevant? Whose name can stay talked about the most? I've seen boxing conversations where people have tried to limit everything to just what a boxer can do versus what another boxer can and can't do. Try to talk about the X's and O's, and the conversation be done and over. But one person has accepted defeat, all on the basis of this other person has a bigger social media following. Even when the statistics and numbers prove that just that one boxer with the bigger, larger social media follower don't equate to having more numbers to another person who has legitimate fans. Legitimate fans that are showing and proving that no matter who he fights, they're going to show up and they're going to support. They're going to show up and they're going to attend. They're going to show up, not only support, not only attend, but then they're going to also give an honest assessment. Eureka. Yeah. Like, I'm out here to keep putting stakes in the ground. Just like when I was on my Sabril Matias campaign. Just like when I was on my Earl Spence campaign. Just like when I was on my Jermell Trilo campaign. Just like when I was on my Shakur Stevenson campaign. When I was on my Tank Davis campaign. When I was on my Anyway campaign. It's one thing that remains the same. I'm not going to get up here and lie to y'all. I'm not going to sit up here and deny anything that I know in my mind to be true. I'm not going to avoid any topic when it comes along to boxing. Why? Because I'm here to talk boxing. People have a weird way of letting you know that they cannot handle, or that they actually do divide real life from the internet. I never get it confused. That's my number one rule. I never get confused with whatever you hear. Even if your ears are listening to what I have to say right now, do not get it confused. I am on the internet. We are not live. We are not in person. I cannot reach out and touch you, and you can't do that to me. I never get it confused behind that. And I understand people gonna be like, well, Mike, just get to the point. It's like, yeah, no, you like microwave. A lot of y'all like microwave. I still understand that if they run Jerry Springer all day, if they run Jerry Springer for 24 hours, 365, some people, that will be their default. They will go back to Jerry Springer. It might be something that they've seen 1,000 times or risk a random episode, but some people will stay tuned and locked into Jerry Springer 24/7. It's the drama. So no matter who's putting out, who's saying what, who's spilling this, who's downgrading this or whatever, you're going to seek it out. You're going to find it. It's going to keep you at bay. Stuff that makes sense, stuff that is the truth. You're going to look at it like, oh, you're a Debbie Downer. Oh, you a do-gooder. Oh, you just, who are you? Are you holier than thou? It's like, no, man. It's the thing that keeps me sane. It's the thing that keeps me with my eyes on the truth. And the thing is right now, like, these are the young guns right now. This is the new era of boxing right now. These two right here, they are the new era of boxing. For me, it's like, okay, dang, it's like I'm stuck because I'm like, okay, cool. I'm born in D.C., raised in PG County, Maryland, living in Baltimore, having Army experience, having gone around the world. I'm looking like, okay, these two young brothers from the East Coast. Okay, cool. One is the definition of hit and not get hit. Well, that's his whole agenda, which is cool. The other one, he's the businessman. You know, he said he handled business. I mean, if you call yourself the businessman, I mean, you about the business, man. Personalities that are out of this world. One is more demonstrative. One is just coming into his own. Got a good troll game. My thing is, I saw them recently and they were going back and forth, right? And somebody reposted them, and it was about the Ryan ordeal. So I was sitting back looking at it. You gotta think, man, you talking to somebody that's about to be 44 years old. I felt like I reached my prime when I was 33. So I'm in my prime plus almost 11 years of experience. So I felt like, man, I didn't feel like I was as mature as I was going to be, or I felt like I was not as mature had it ever been before I turned 33. Something happened it was the eve of when I turned 33. Maybe some of it was programming because of what I know about that number 33. But when I was 33, The eve before that, all this, I got inundated with so much information. I had been kicking against the pricks. I had been going against the grain. I had been struggling with how I was raised. Father Muslim, mother Christian. So it was always a question. I always had to use critical thinking skills because it's like, okay, which one is absolute? Neither one of them. Found that out early. The environment I was in, what people were doing at the age of 12, 11, 13. I'm 6 months older than my cousin, and she had a baby when we was in the 12th grade. Grew up very fast. Quick environment. Maybe that was why when I was 17, I said, hey, I'm going to go to the Army. You know what I'm saying? Because there ain't nothing around here. I already seen was good, was bad, was worse, was ugly. How can things be? Like, how can you... Yeah, I was like, oh, I'm on the first thing smoking to the Army. And going in at 17... coming out at 25, during that period of time is when I became a man. Traveling the world, looking at a whole lot of different things, being in a whole lot of hostile, different environments, people speaking different languages, like seeing stuff I've never seen, dealing with bills, learning about credit. You know, growing up. So when I look at the ages, it's like, okay, cool. Yeah, I remember getting in a DUI when I was 25. I remember that. So I look at these guys, these young guys, and I think about their brains and what's going on and having access to a certain amount of money. Because I was on Army pay, and I felt like, dang, you doing your thing, homie. Like, I was on Army pay in a leadership role, like doing my over in Korea, doing my thing. So I'm like, man, part of me is like, man, you gonna make mistakes. But part of me is like, man, try to say or try to coerce these guys to keep these trained on these tracks. Because all it takes is one mistake, one bad punch. One mistake, you know, outside of the ring. One mistake out there. And one of these boxers know very well. They were standing literally at feet of being finito. So one of them understand very well what can happen. The other one just came from an environment I know down there in VA, that part of VA, how it is. You know, you hear the Michael Vick story, you hear the AI story, like you already know how it is. Some of the most gifted athletes to ever shoot a basketball or put on a pair of shoulder pads and pick up a football. Coming from that other area up north, right up under New York, I mean, we already know what it is. Shaq got claim to that. I know one of my guys, you know what I'm saying, when they came to rap, I ain't gonna lie to you, one of my guys was Joe Budden, being from Jersey, having that story, like knowing that, okay, cool, both of them could be perceived as not having a what. Both of them can be perceived as coming up environments where it was a lot of mouths to feed and very few opportunities. All of that. So when I talk about this boxing stuff, I look at it from all of that perspective. So I try to focus on just things inside the ring. But every time I keep trying to behave, it's like they keep pulling me back. And it's like, well, if we're going to talk about it, let's talk about the truth. Let's talk about them in the right light, in the right. So long story short, when I seen the video of them going back and forth with Ryan Garcia, and I listened to it, and I'm like, okay, cool. Ryan, you know, he's promoting. He's keeping himself relevant. You gotta applaud. It's like, yeah, that's the work ethic. Those are the things that was like, where everybody else is doing nothing, he's doing something. Regardless how you feel about the situation, whether you believe he cheated, whether it was on purpose, they found it in his system, it should have been a verdict. That's all the same for everybody. But no matter how you felt, I was like, okay, cool. Ryan doing his thing, he's staying relevant. What more way to stay relevant by hopping in on the two young guns? Keyshawn Davis, he's been doing his things. He's been a social media butterfly doing his thing. So when I was listening to the conversation, I listened to Shakur with the, you know, trying to analyze and gauge where he was coming from and what he was doing and how he was looking at this whole Ryan situation. It's like, yeah, I would imagine that Ryan, I mean, that that Shakur would want to share the ring with Ryan. The disciplinarian in me is like, man, do not engage in anything with Brian Garcia or Devin Haney's name in it right now. Why? Because one is on a 1-year suspension that's not under his control. The other one, who faced him, is doing it voluntarily. So it's like, why are they taking or superseding or grabbing space from anybody? So part of me is saying, do not engage in anything about any fight concerning them two for at least a year. So we should be in the clear to where we're not talking about that no more until they handle their business. This is when you start seeing a little bit of the tribalism to where people are just going to do it. Now, Ryan is making himself relevant. Devin is doing what I think he should be doing by staying off of social media, letting the world think what they think, and hopefully he's back in that dark room developing and working on and listening and watching film and not getting caught up on this narrative about Osterman. But I digress. When I'm looking at this exchange and this interaction, I'm looking at, okay, well, Shakur would be willing to fight this guy, Ryan, with all his mental hiccups, with all his issues, with all the drama surrounding him, with all of the history, the back and forth, the nonchalantness, the playing crazy. If you want to say racial slurs, you can put that in there if you want. So he's on here engaging with this dude, and it's ha 1 minute. And Shakur's troll game is getting pretty mean because at one point in time he said, hold on, you mean to tell me this lost a fight? And I think it was Keyshawn who was saying, and his mother was the judge. They had me rolling. It's classic. The chemistry between them two is classic. The way they interact, the way Keyshawn's personality is, and the way Shakur's is, it kind of balances out when they're together. That's why I'm calling them the Young Guns. So I'm like, okay, cool. Where is this going to land? Because one, we shouldn't be thinking about Shakur and Ryan right now because Ryan is out for at least a year. You know he's not going to come back and fight Shakur. Shakur ain't even talking about whether or not he's moving up. We don't even know what promotional company he's going to be with right now. But I say let's entertain this. Let's go ahead and move forward and entertain this. Let's entertain this interaction between Ryan, Shakur, and Keyshawn. So I said, okay, cool. I see the back and forth. Shakur say 40. Ryan say 144. Then he said, I'll fight you. Then Keyshawn jump up. I'll do it at 44. And I'm like, okay, cool. I actually kind of believe that Keyshawn is froggy enough to where if you give Keyshawn, whether he ready or not, if you give Keyshawn an opportunity, I believe Keyshawn going to jump on it. Keyshawn is recognizing in real time that I have to jump on that opportunity. So if it's an opportunity that's presented and it's right there, in that sense, I believe he's every bit of the businessman. He's going to take every advantage of the opportunity. That's why I like what he's doing with T.O. The fact that T.O. is above him, he's legacy. He's been letting it known they got history, camera, film, all of that. He's the next up. T.O. wants somebody that's not going to run around and do this and that. Keyshawn has shown he will stand there and exchange with you. So he's actually calling T.O.'s bluff and running up behind him. But T.O. was playing the old, you're behind me game. I'm chasing legacy. I'm chasing the fight that I'm probably not going to get, even though I got to respect that T.O.'s actually doing it. I just think that he don't want any, well, I think he will win against Keyshawn or not. I don't think that he won any parts with Keyshawn right now. So I respect that. So when I heard Keyshawn flip the script and I was like, okay, he about to go Darth Vader mode. He getting ready to go in on Ryan because he was like, hey, listen, you got to stop talking to my people like that, bro. Like, why are you doing, like, however you want to word it, paraphrase it, whatever. He was basically checking Ryan for using that word that he used. And I said, okay, cool. If he really standing on business, I just wish that the dialogue behind him actually really wanting to enact that reflected that he really wanted to inflict bodily harm. Only two things. I don't believe Ryan is a racist. I think he just goofy and he got diarrhea of the mouth, just like all these young dudes who get online and just start spewing out all kind of crazy, stupid, silly stuff in the heat of the moment because they young killers with too much venom. They don't think. They soon they feel a urge or an emotion, they want to put it right online for the world to see right then and there. And then after they cooled off and thought about it and said, oh man, what did I do? Then they come back and then in hindsight, they say, yeah, man, well, listen, man, it wasn't that big a deal. It wasn't a big deal to begin with. But I thought about it and I looked at the big picture and I said, here these two guys, these two black brothers, well, Shakur had been claiming, you know, his father was Puerto Rican. So everybody in the community still look at him as black, you know, Puerto Rican heritage somewhere in there. Okay, cool. However you want to claim it, however you want to put it. When the police pull them two over, they're going to say two black dudes. I don't care how you want to church it up. Can't put lipstick on that pig. That's how they're going to look at them. Two black dudes and whatever they drive in a Maybach. That's how they're going to look at it. Let's be honest. I'm looking at them go at it with Ryan, but it was a happy-go-lucky. It was a friendly. It was a laughy, jokey, and then a little hint at a fight or a build-up and all that. So I started thinking big picture, Mike. The 44-year-old Mike, not the one that just want to see these fights, because I would take any combination of those fights, whether Keyshawn fight Shakur, Shakur fight Ryan, Keyshawn fight Ryan. I'll take any combination of it. Whenever, like, if they give it, the sooner they give it to us, I'll take any combination of it. That's how I look at it from a fan perspective. But I was looking at it, I said, you know what? They was trying to pull this. They keep trying to pull this race stuff. Just like everybody trying to pull this cheating outrage card right now that you really got to check, because nobody's really outraged about cheating. Don't make me go down in that wormhole. Nobody's outraged about Ryan really using that word. But I am going to go down this wormhole. I'm going to make it make sense, because you can't be outraged that these guys are happy-go-lucky, saying stuff tongue-in-cheek, happy, bantering, back and forth, being loquacious, hardy-har, back and forth. But when somebody like Cam and May step in and say, hey, man, this is what I see, they were saying it's boring. Not saying you ain't do your job. Not saying you ain't complete the mission. Not saying you ain't pass with flying colors. Only thing is, in the entertainment business, people were saying it was boring. But the young black bro was saying, okay, with you, Cam, with you, Mace, when I see you, it's on sight. Now, being from New Jersey, living down in Houston now, knowing what them dudes is from Harlem. Looking at it from the perspective where I am, being born in D.C., living in Baltimore, been all around the world in the Army, I'm listening at it like this. Man, if any one of these situations go bad, it'll probably be the situation with the guys from Harlem that'll go bad. Not the guy that's from California that's really just, it's a historical record of him going online just having diarrhea of the mouth. So I'm looking at it like, okay, cool. How you online being happy-go-lucky with this dude Ryan, and you fake want to check him about it, because we heard about Keyshawn beating up T.O.'s dad, which I'm like, dang, if it came down to it, it's like, how y'all getting work? Like, how is that profitable to the business, man? Like, how is it? But I'm a hater when I bring up these things. And I know that it ain't just me, because I was watching the very popular show yesterday, and a gentleman called in and he said, you know what? He started talking about how people promoting this and this. He said, you know what? I'm probably not the majority in all this. He said, but I'm accustomed to, like, when it came down to business and promotion, I'm part of the ones where they not just going to show out and show up and be ignorant online and give all these people stuff to talk about in ignorance. He was like, I'm more of the type to where let's ignore that out in the public, and then let's talk about the business behind closed doors, and I can just simply tell you, hey, listen, I'm not interested. And I know that my demographics, the people that cater to my videos, are pretty much a little bit more mature audience. They typically about 6 or 7 years younger than me, and then about 10 to 15 years older than me. So it's an older demographic. It was a way that we handle things. It was a way that we handle. But this new era is, only thing that matters is what you actually say online right now. That's the only thing that matters. Only thing that matters is how people perceive you, because in the court of public perception, it's all in how they walk away from it. Me, from the eyeballs and the perspective that I actually have, when I actually go out and about, it's like, man, I like seeing people that look like me, think like me, and talk like me on different job sites, on different venues, like prospering, being that guy, being sharp, knowing what they're actually doing, like being like masters of their craft. That don't just apply to boxing. I like seeing that out and about. It let me know, okay, cool, we got hope. There's people out here that actually care about what they're doing, whether they flipping burgers, giving out fries, like being mechanics. These engineers on these sites, they actually care. They know they stuff. Like, that's appealing. But the guy that just always talking and blah 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 and yippity yap and, you know, always like, but when you check them on what they know and how they do everything, they don't know nothing. They don't really do nothing. That's almost like how it is right now. So I'm looking at it like, okay, cool. We be sending mixed signals, because how are we supposed to appeal and think that, okay, we supposed to be all against Ryan on some racial stuff when y'all all on social media he and ha. But when it comes to some dudes with some questionable backgrounds or some things that some other people might know from Harlem with diverse backgrounds, when I see you, it's on sight. That's why I don't believe the fake racist outrage. The reason why I don't believe the face cheating outrage is because nobody was slamming Michelle Rivera for popping hot. Why? Because Frank Martin pretty much outboxed him and dropped him. He got a platform. So we can yell out Tank name and call him the B word and all this. He got a platform that allowed him, enabled him to do that, gave him a voice to do that. And these same people will allow Keyshawn to be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna knock Tank out. It's like, I understand promotion, but like, how are you gonna do something to Tank that you're not doing to the level of competition that they're putting in front of you? How do we hear a boxer come out between all these rounds, 7th, 8th round, after every round, I'm about to stop this dude, I'm about to stop, and he don't do it, and as a fan, we get more criticism for that. Then after that, we get the full blame. Even when we say we got to give him an A because of the numbers, statistics, the fact that he pitched the shutout. We got to give him that, but like to demand or to act like he is this and he's not that, we catch more flack. But we're the fans. We can't get upset when we rock with T.O., but he come out and tell somebody like Tank SMD, and then he'll say F my fans. But we bad and we holding grudges and we not supportive and we won't do this, even though we can recognize the talent and ability. We just know that you're human. You break down. You have emotions. You was put under pressure. I was the only one said, man, T.O. probably, man, he should have been getting more paid. He got pimped. But he understood the game. He was still willing to play. But we pick and choose when we want to be right, when we want to be wrong, when we want to be tribal, when we want to be individuals, when we want to speak up and stand on the truth, when we want to let a white lie come, when we want to omit all the things that come along with gaslight, when people question whether or not that was the date or time, when people will come out and say, oh man, don't give me your eye test. Don't give me your eye test. That's what they say about Boots. That's the hardest thing. They be like, oh, don't give me the eye test on Boots. When people are like, hey man, he passed the eye test. Like with the eye test, Boots passed everybody eye test. But then when they come up to describing the dude that's getting ready to fight Caleb Plant, it's like, oh man, he looked the part. He do this. He do that. He can do this. He can do that. Man, if you look at him, when you see him, nobody know the dude. It's like, let's stop playing with the boxing talk. But don't say I'm a hater for pointing out all these contradictions. All this stuff that's just used to confuse the more than the average boxing fan. It really becomes gaslighting. Because people will call in every day, all day. Like, I'm like right now I'm at a point to where like I've said it. I think I'm probably coming up on a year, probably about a year and a half, where I am a Tank fan that says I do not care who Tank fights. Stamp it. Go put it on a t-shirt. Bodywork don't care who Tank fights. I've come up upon that about a year and a half ago. Why? Because I realized that no matter who he fights, he ain't gonna get credit for it. So why would I tell the man to stop his hustle or whatever he got going and stop dictating his own career path when he's doing it bigger and better than anybody from... You could have just fought... It ain't nowhere in the world right now that somebody that only had 11 fights, I don't care what planet on boxing you on, ain't nowhere in the world that somebody with 11 fights, man, Tank would get crucified every single solitary day if you only had 11 fights as a professional boxer and you're fighting a guy like Gervonta Tank Davis right now. But it's okay for Bud. It's okay for Bud. That's why I say I don't care who Tank fight. If they're gonna pay you whatever they're gonna pay you, and the regional manager from Target out here in Baltimore say, hey, what's up? Knock his ass out. Cause it don't matter. We move goalposts. We look at everything through different lenses. And mind you, out of these 11 fights that this dude had, you could talk all about amateur, but when you bring up somebody's amateur record, like they'll crucify you for saying, oh, this guy lost to this guy in the amateurs, and this guy lost to that guy in the amateurs. But when it comes to justify his opponent, they'll say, oh man, he got over 400 and something plus fights in the amateurs, and don't worry about that. When you actually scrub the record and when you look at what's going on, the dude got 11 fights. One of them was a draw, and he fought one guy twice. When he fought back in April, it was for a vacant. Like it's a new age in boxing, man, to where it don't matter because everybody would justify these actions to say, oh man, well shoot, man, he about to be in his however many numbers division, and this is about to be whatever undisputed or whatever. It's like, but they lack all of that when it comes to talking about somebody like Inouye because he's in the lower weight. Unless it's somebody that they're rocking with, or somebody that they know in the camp, or somebody that they can get, you know, on the show to do an interview or pick somebody's brain or get a hot take about this. It's like, no, that's not boxing talk. And that's devoid of boxing logic. These are the young guns. This is what everybody's saying. So Shakur can come out and say, oh, I'm going to stop this dude. I'm going to do this to Hard Tune. I'm going to do that. And then afterwards, he'd be like, oh, man, fuck it. Like, you don't like it? Don't watch. He can do that. So don't talk about there is no customer service in boxing. There's no customer service in boxing. It's just like boxing is like this. You remember them Cracker Jack boxes? I might be dating myself, but we used to get Cracker Jack boxes. And in the Cracker Jack box, you get the little treat, but then you wanted to know what sticker or what tattoo was in there. Or when you go to the gumball, when you go to them little gumball machines and you see the little packages, man, you might get a ring, you might get a dope little sword every now and again when they send out them little mini pellet joints that you could just pull back and you could actually pop somebody with one of them. When they had all of that, when you turn that level in that gumball machine, whatever popped out, that's what you get, and you better be satisfied. If not, put another quarter in the machine. That's what these boxers are telling us now. Oh, you don't like it? Don't watch. Oh, you don't like my performance? You a hater. Your opinion don't matter. SMD. They can do that. That's what's appealing. Man, did you hear what he said on IG? And then you like, okay, cool. When you be like, dang, he talking reckless. It's like, oh man, okay. But then you go back and you look at the fight, it ain't no violence. But you wrong as a fan when you don't see that. Now it's all these apologists. It's all these people that say, oh man, Tank need to prove. I'm like, I don't understand all this Tank need to prove anything stuff. If anybody need to prove anything, because everything that this man, that one guy is saying that he hasn't proved that he was. And when he did it against somebody where he had all the advantages over. It's the same thing. This is what keeps me safe. It's the same argument I made for Devin. Why? Because it applies. It's the same argument that I made for Boots up until a certain point. The only way I had to get off of the Boots stuff is when, okay, yes, Boots has had all the advantages over his opponents. I can't put that against him. Why? Because when he had an opportunity to fight the baddest man on the planet didn't want to fight him. He dropped the belt and let it go. It's the same thing that I say when it came down to Devin and Shakur. You can talk about how Shakur should have took the deal, even though there was no deal, even though there's record that Bob Arum said that there was nothing with Devin and Shakur. That whole bottle crap service or whatever, there could have been an opportunity. Devin did not want it. He didn't want it. Shakur called his bluff when he went to the sanctioning body, and then the sanctioning body is getting ready to render it. Devin did the same thing. He dropped his belt. Whereas they sent it straight to Jerron, just like they sent it straight to Devin when Loma did it, and he got elevated to the franchise. They sent the belt straight to Devin. They sent the belt straight to Boots. So if you love Devin and how he did it, you can't say nothing about Boots and how he got it. But guess what? Shakur, the way he got it was a step above. Because it was actually vacant at that point and he fought De Los Santos for it. The issue there was it was a lackluster performance on both of their ends. When everybody watched it, when you thought you was going against somebody called the Grenade and another guy that we called the definition of hit and not get hit, nobody knew they was going to do a historic low. Punches thrown, punches landed. Especially after seeing the Regis and Zorilla fight where they had did an historic low. You don't see that in that span of time in the same year. For all my fake ass historians who only care about everything that happened back in 79 and don't give a shit about what's going on now, this is fact-based content. My historians who don't really know what the fuck is going on, but they give a whole analysis about some shit where they only watch the highlights. But I digress. When you look at it historically, you don't get that back to back from the Regis Prograis and Zorilla fight to the Shakur Stevenson and De Los Santos fight. You don't get those historic lows like that. So everybody gives somebody an excuse and say, "Oh man, bad hand." Okay, cool. That's all right. But everything in the build up to this was saying you was going to deliver this. And then you didn't deliver that, even though you still get an A in the performance because by the book, you did everything by the book. But it's just like this is like technicians out in the field. It's like, yeah, you can look at somebody and say, oh, you did everything within the confines of the job to check every block off. But what would have put it over and got that customer service recommendation or got you that bonus was had you did this. You don't even want to do that. You just want us to put the quarter in the gumball machine, spin it, and be satisfied with whatever pops out. Whatever excuse you render. Nah, man. You can't be talking about you're gonna knock out the face of boxing and you ain't even knocking out the guy that's in front of you, and the guy that's in front of you ain't even close to being the face of boxing. That's not hate. Those are mature individuals that's applying the same things, the same principles to everything. Putting everybody on the scale, regardless of what tribe you in and what your agenda is. But these are the young guns. These is what everybody want to see. This is what everybody want to sit around and talk about all the time. This is what, because he said, oh man, did you see how he went at such and such on social media? It's like that has taken precedence, y'all. I had to let that breathe. That's what's taking precedence, y'all. And you know, these guys, man, Stella, they was Olympian, silver medalists. They got, you know, excellent careers, great personalities, great young men. I saluted Shakur when he proposed to his lady. You know what I'm saying? I didn't get off into the history and all the background of who they was. I was just like, okay, cool. He made right by some young lady. He got a little baby girl. I looked at Keyshawn like, oh, man, he got his brothers. Kelvin is my guy. It's very hard for me to actually talk about Keyshawn and not talk about Kelvin, but Kelvin is my guy. I like the potential. I like his. I like and enjoy his ceiling. I think that Keyshawn could really be the truth. He just focused, and then if we just stop, because it's, as an older guy and somebody that's been through some stuff, and some people say, "Oh man, you just want him to be there." It's like, no, as an older guy, that say, look, if you go back in the hands of time and tell your son or tell your little cousin or do this, because we all know somebody that could have been easily either on somebody's football field, somebody's basketball court, or in somebody's boxing ring, or you yourself could have been that. But it was all about choices and not seizing the moment and recognizing the magnitude of the moment that they're in. All I'm trying to really do is convince and let everybody know that right now, these guys, right now, they are in their prime. There is nothing to actually force these guys to fight each other, even though all the people that like to shit on Errol Spence, it was a lot of people that were saying, oh, no, Errol Spence got to fight Jermell Charlo and this and this and this. I'm like, hold on, how would that work? They all lock in step to where when one moved up, like when Earl moved from 47 to 54, I believe Melvin would go to 60 and then Marvin would go to 68 and everything would have happened. It didn't go according to plan. It didn't go according to plan, but you can't tell me, and I hope a lot of people go back and start taking down videos and all that shit, because it was more energy for Errol Spence to fight Jermell Charlo, and they shared the same trainer. They shared the same trainer. But now he could be friend with this guy. When he was trying to fight Devin, they said, oh man, that's a snake, man, if you supposed to be friends. So this guy on the left, he could be friends with every motherfucking body. Get ready to crash out against somebody like Cameron, but be on the live with Ryan Garcia and be happy-go-lucky. Hee ha ha, trying to set up a fight. That's why I say that when in one breath you can say Ryan deserved to be banned for life, but then you'll co-sign them even negotiate anything, and his suspension ain't even up. It's like you got to pick a side. You won't gaslight me, but ain't nobody really bold enough to talk about this. This is why I say, look, I'm doing something right. Every time I come on and I do something like this, I lose a subscriber. Until I stop losing subscribers and I start gaining them, I'm gonna keep talking about the same thing. Because the average consumer that's getting through their day, that's actually listening to this, they don't have the time to go back and research all these things. Some of us do. Some of us do. Some of us can check all of it. Some of us can purely see that people have motives and agendas behind what they're pushing and how they're pushing, and they thinking that it's going to be good for the longevity of the sport when there's not. It's just like, I'm sorry to tell y'all this, but there is a Trojan horse in boxing right now. I'm not going to go too deep on it, but if you look at this Trojan horse, this savior that's supposed to be putting on this and this and that, when people went over there and fought and got money and got bread, something crazy happened. People went over and lost their belts. People did all this, but we will excuse it when it comes down to our guy. We'll be so passive. Oh man, you know why he doing that, man. You know, man. You know he want to be a 4 division champ. He want to be 3-time under. You would justify all kind of bullshit. That's bullshit. When the bullshit is right in front of your face. When it comes to your guy. But then you allow slander on somebody that ain't your guy, that you know ain't the truth, because you're offended because somebody's telling the truth about your guy. It's a different standard. It's a different day. It's a different time, man. And like I said, people overuse the word hate. I think one of the demonstrations I gave on a practical level was, you don't know what hate is until the ratio. I think I threw out a ratio of with a ratio of men and women is like 32 to 5. And you got to be there for almost 2 years. Yeah, you're gonna actually experience what the ratio of hate is. It's just like nature, like in human nature. When the ratio is out there, When there's that many females versus that many males, you can imagine what goes on. We ain't no different. We ain't no different. We like this. We tend to think we are, but we ain't no different. I also gave another example of during a certain period of time, if you whistled at the wrong female, if you was like looking like this and she was looking like that, and you happen to whistle at the wrong female, then you might be considered looked at as strange fruit hours later. That's hate. What's going on now when you're actually giving an honest assessment? When you want to promote, but it's like you're just not going to let certain things slide. Like when you don't condone certain behavior. Like when you take a mature approach, people, oh man, you're hating. So now being mature, looking at it from a more mature approach, from inappropriateness to what's appropriate, that's hating now. These are hard truths. And I said, look, somebody got to do it. Why not me? You know, why not? Why not put on that vest? Why not wear that scarlet letter to say, hey, man, it don't matter who it is, man. We're going to put you up on the scale. We're going to analyze your competition the same. We're going to look at your resume the same. We're going to actually analyze what's going on and what's going on. And we ain't got to change, because at some point in time, it's just going to be your time for everybody to talk about you. Everybody tend to choose this way. They tend to choose to avoid to talk about this. Now, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to look at everybody the same and say, look, man, yeah, this is record. Yeah, man, this is his competition. In all actuality, he could have did this when he didn't do that, but I don't blame him, because, you know, you got to take your opportunities, or at least you can say he was active. That's what I'm going to do. But I seen where it's just like I seen where Chris Mannix has said. Chris Mannix did a video and said that this guy Madrimov, he said the guy Madrimov is tailor-made for Bud. And I actually watched the video where Timothy Bradley was doing his best to I don't know, man. I guess analyze the fight. I mean, people pick and choose when your amateur background means something and when it don't. You know, because I think certain boxers, they might not have been to the Olympics, but what their amateur background was and the national championships and how they went about doing it, it don't matter depending on what your last name is or where you come from. But I'm gonna open it up, man. You know, sometimes it's a lot of people that'll be wanting smoke, man. I'm an individualist, man. It's me, myself, and Irene, man. So, you know, I am gonna give an opportunity to where if you got something that you gotta say, something you need to get off your chest, if you just needed me to be quiet for like 5 minutes when you get it off, I just ask that you don't run. Or let me rephrase that. I ain't gonna say don't run. Don't be so elusive. Stick around. Like after you get yours off, I just ask that you stick around for what's coming back. People, I don't think people really thought I don't know, man. Last time I don't know if I made myself available just because I had so much to say. But this is the new state of boxing, man. Boxing is officially changed, and what you do on social media is way more important than what you do inside the ring. According to today's day and time, not according to me, not according to Bodywork Boxing, aka Michael Rogers, the Pulse of Boxing, not according to me. But this is where we're at. So whether you love and support and want these guys to be able to feed their families or not, put your quarter in the machine, spin it, and whatever capsule you get, just be appreciative of what that is. Whatever it is. Cookie Monster. Bodywork, salute. Yo, she's cool too. It's simple promotion. Yeah, it is. His twin, salute, bro. Bodywork. Preach, brother. His twin, salute. AJ 64. Keyshawn mouth overload is plain and simple. Yeah. That's what I be saying, man. Then people be saying, oh man, well, you should put on some gloves. I don't mind putting on some gloves. I would actually do it. I'm one of the ones that if given an opportunity, I would. I really would, man. But I'm here, man. Like I said, man, I was gonna put this link out for if you know, there's a lot of people, man. There's a lot of closeted people, man. Especially if you unsubscribe because I said something, but you really ain't be able to get it off your chest, or if you had a problem, or if it's something that's on your chest, if it's something burning, like if it's something that you want to say directly to the kid. Directly to the kid, man. Speak now. I ain't gonna say forever hold your peace, because it's gonna be another opportunity. What happened to my camera? I'm here. I would never want somebody to be thinking I'm sneak dissing, taking shots. Not being who I'm gonna be, regardless whether you're in my face, whether we talking or not. Cookie Monster, there you go. Hey, body work, Cookie Monster, what's going on? I'm feeling like Sub-Zero, man. I'm here for all the smoke, man. People love jaw jacking in the comment section and all that, man, but they don't ever really want to come and like really talk it out. Or they do a whole bunch of subliminals or talk and say and do a whole bunch of other stuff. I'm like, let's just be adults. But then this is another level of where we're in the era now where if somebody feel like they bigger than you, they'll never come up and say nothing and have a, you know what I'm saying, have a dialogue with you. Because they seem like they're pulling you up. It's like, nah, you ain't gonna really pull me up. Because even if you think you can pull me up and I gain a couple, they'll probably listen to a video I said, well, I keep it all the way 100, and they'll probably just unsubscribe anyway. That's not my target audience. My target audience are people that like the truth. Simple and plain. We're not gonna lie about nobody. We're not gonna cap. We're not gonna act like we don't see. We're not gonna omit, not remember, not use rationale or reasoning. That's just not that's not where it's at. No. It was my open invitation. I said I was going to shorten up the lives, but it's amazing how this YouTube boxing community works. It's just like now, like right now, it's a big ordeal right now about how people are saying that because at first I was not on board. I was not on board with Loma, but you got to think I was not on board with Loma when Devin was gonna fight Loma. I said, nah, man. I said, come on, man. But everybody pushed and they pulled and they voiced their opinions and they smashed the gas on it. So we got it. And had Loma not taken off the 12th round, he would have won the fight. I graded Devin for winning, but if Loma wouldn't have took off the 12th round, he would have won. I heard somebody give that whole analogy and use up the whole 7-year thing, and I'm like, hold on, do you fools not realize that Devin Haney fought the man a year ago? So now that Tank getting ready to fight him now, oh, he too old, and it's he been washed. Y'all just didn't want to give T.O. the credit when T.O. showed that he was washed. T.O. showed that he was washed. Y'all didn't want to give T.O. the credit when T.O. showed that he was washed. Why? Because y'all still needed Devin to validate himself. And why is that a factor? Why? Because when before the pre-fight, Devin and him was in the ring, and Loma looked at him and said, hey, he's a middleweight. You can see the glaring, obvious difference in size, and Loma still almost beat him. But the Devin and Loma fight happened last year, and so now it's finally about to happen where everybody can cash in on all that glory. And I'm like, I don't know where this always alludes, especially with people who talk boxing all the time. I don't know where this alludes us, where you never want to bring up the fact that Lomachenko was under Bob Arum fighting with ESPN on Top Rank. And Tank was over there with PBC with TMT. And it wasn't up until recently he did his thing as GTD. But all that time it was Tank's fault he didn't want it. It's like we don't even consider the weight classes. We don't even consider that they were not on the same label, like this cross. But Tank has to bear the grunt of, oh, he ain't 1-1, or because of something that Floyd said. How many times we heard Bob say, with fighters that fight for Top Rank, I play it. And people that love Top Rank, they act like they never hear that. They act like they never hear that take. They act like that, oh man, at any point in time, Floyd could have just pointed over there and said, I want him. Well, who's been having the belts in the 35 division for the majority of the part? Fighters that fight for Top Rank. What do you think Shakur's big dilemma is? Because no matter how he go and where he go, he has one belt, so he's either forced to fight whoever come up through that line or negotiate something outside of that line. Well, everybody else besides Gervonta Tank Davis has a belt, and they over there with Top Rank at 135. So we supposed to believe, and we let people rehearse this lie like every day. Like every day we let people rehearse this lie about how Tank was ducking Loma. And now he too old. And now you want everybody to stop what they doing to fight Shakur, and Shakur ain't got no deal in place. He ain't got nothing going on. But now everything that Coach Kenny said, it's crazy how when Coach Kenny say something, it's somebody putting up a roadblock for Tank. But I heard somebody say that Ryan Garcia, who's now suspended from boxing, who was not the draw by the numbers, another lie that everybody perpetuate, he was not the numbers. That Ryan Garcia had the right to be able to tell them two to fight. The Young Guns. So Ryan Garcia, they were saying that Ryan Garcia said he should have pulled a Canelo, in which he should have told them two Young Guns to fight each other and the winner will get me. Like, he really got that clout. Where we just seen where Suleiman ordered it, and Oscar came out and said, oh man, that don't mean anything. Like, whatever they ordered, that never got. And he cited how they ordered Benavidez and Canelo before, and that never happened. That just happened over there, knowing that they're under a golden, like, that's Golden Boy, Ryan. He's suspended for a year. He can't even box right now. But they'll just let people just get up and tell that lie. But the theory that Ryan could actually say, yeah, y'all two fight, and that's okay. But then when Coach Kenny say, all right, well, shoot, you fight them, and then you come on and fight this. Now Coach Kenny putting up roadblocks. I always go back to that. I say, look, I don't understand the coin flip. Maybe that's what it was, or maybe they thought whatever. I don't know what happened. I didn't never understand the coin flip. But I say that, man, sometimes, man, we give people too much fuel, like, even if it ain't true, but we give people too much to go by to legitimize stuff that couldn't even be, it couldn't be any farther from the truth. Like, I don't know what happened. When they flipped that coin and they landed on Shakur, I don't know what happened. But that did give a lot of people impetus to say, oh, man, Coach Kenny and them, they just, so, but when Coach Kenny say something, he's putting up a roadblock for Tank. But you allow somebody like Ryan Garcia to tell the two young brothers to fight, and then you would expect them to do. You would expect them to fight to get the Ryan fight. When Tank, who is really the numbers guy, because nobody really want to talk about that elephant in the room either. If Tank and Ryan did that big old number, and then the next pay-per-view Ryan had, and Ryan and Devin didn't do a big number, where it's questionable whether or not they were even in the red. Because coming off the last event that Devin DHP did with Regis was talking about how he didn't get no money. So we knew those numbers were trash in your own hometown. We knew the numbers with Ryan and Devin was trash. But now Ryan still has all this popularity and all these numbers from social media to garner what? If we're talking about the sport of boxing and selling tickets, to garner what? Because it's crazy how everybody will point out that Tank didn't have those numbers until he fought with Ryan. But they'll never say that Ryan didn't have those numbers unless he fought with Tank. Even though Tank got different pay-per-view numbers, and the fight with Frank Martin actually proved that he was more of the draw. But remember, I told you, this era of boxing is all about social media following. As long as you got a lot of people watching and listening and whatever, and you can sway the masses that way, and it's like, they're starting to track that stuff now. You can go on BoxRec to see how many followers a boxer got. It ain't got shit to do with what they do inside the ring, but now that's a talking point. Now that's everything. So that's what even though that we have proven in these instances, in these facts that I just give you, that don't translate to boxing numbers. That don't translate to butts and seats in box office. That don't translate to pay-per-view vibe. It don't. We just proved that with that scenario. But again, we know who actually naturally, like, it. I'm gonna use the word hate, but I also gave you a definition of hate. I also gave you the definition of hate. And I would imagine that one of the definitions, when I said the ratio of men to women, is like, let's just say you're in an environment, in a stressful environment, and the ratio was 35-7. It'd be stressful on both sexes. Oh yeah. That's hate. Whistling at the wrong person at the wrong time and end up being strange fruit. That's hate. when people actually out here spitting boxing facts and then telling people to have some accountability, be mature, like, let's not take it to the streets. Like, you don't gotta represent us like that. That's not hate. That's not hate. I'm sorry, we gotta go through these type of things and actually rehearse and remind people that in this day and time, that's not hate. Telling the truth. Saying, you know damn well Bud ain't got no business fighting this dude that only got 11 professional fights, regardless of his professional career. Why? Because if look at Frank Martin, look how many fights Frank Martin had. They still try to crucify Tank for that. They want Tank to fight anyway when they ain't give him no credit for Hector Garcia moving up one weight and having a belt. That's why belts matter sometimes, then they don't other times. And the only reason why this fight is acceptable is because this dude, Madrimov, has a belt. That's it. He got a belt. It was a vacant. He fought for a vacant. We can see that. We can see what kind of athleticism he has and this and this and this. But in his 11 fights, he fought one dude twice. He fought to a draw with that dude. So out of 11 fights, you fought one dude twice. So you only fought 10 people. This dude fought 10 people professionally. And because he's at this higher weight, which is where Bud ended up at, this is all feasible and it's all acceptable. But it was acceptable not to fight. I don't know, man. That'll dip back off into the tribalism path. I'm not on that, man. I'm not a part of no tribe, man. You can't say PBC and I'm gonna be like, oh, and then open up and get on my knees. No, you can't say top rank and I'm gonna be like, man, damn, and go crazy. Nah, you can't bring up Eddie and I'm gonna be like, man, stab, nah. You know what I'm saying? They all got these things when you looking at it and you want to be objective and you don't want to act slow because yeah, let's leave it at that. And you don't want to act slow. You know where the game is going and you know what should be happening, but we all pick and choose when we want to be ignorant. When we want to be expressive about certain things and we want to just ride the wave. It's just like now, I hope people keep the same energy about making picks. I hope people do make the same energy about making picks and being wrong and how being wrong about a pick mean that you ain't this and your channel ain't that. I hope people keep that same energy. I hope people keep that same energy, man. Because we know that's not what it's all about. I don't know how many times Stephen A been wrong. I don't know how many times Steven Jackson was with Stephen Fulton and they were saying that No Way Anyway was a hype job. Greg Hackett said it was a hype job. He ain't got nothing for him and all. I'm like, okay, cool. So if I disagree with that and I say that there ain't nothing just because they be putting on boxing gloves and getting inside the ring, now I'm a bozo and I don't know anything and they know everything and I need to shut up. But their opinion means more than mine. And we seen the results. I digress, man. I thought somebody had some smoke. I'm always here. Don't say I don't put myself out there where you can really, you know what I'm saying, get whatever it is you got going on off. But I hope you walk away from this conversation with more than what you entered with. And then we start breaking these things down, man. Like, we shouldn't pull the racism card. Let's not pull this nationalism card. Let's not try to pull up a Hall of Famer or an old veteran that's been retired and take a on them just because the dude that we like currently ain't doing what he's supposed to be doing, ain't delivering on his promises. And now all of a sudden we need to just be quiet and support and stay on code. Well, let's tell us to stay on code before somebody has to question whether or not you were on code and an incident happened. How about that? It's just food for thought. So remember, this is them fruits and veggies, not that Reggie. But these are the young guns, man. So this is the standard now. This is the standard for everything now. So like the way that the moves and how everybody perceived and the fact that, oh no, you cool with this, you can go over here and say that, and you can just do this, and you can build yourself up on social media, and as long as you got people talking good about you or keeping your name relevant, I'm just gonna ask us to keep that same energy. Keep that same energy, because I'm starting to see why some boxers be like, you know what? I'm gonna just get this bag. I'm gonna just keep getting this money. Why? Because I bring up one example. People are still shitting on Errol Spence. People are still shitting on Errol Spence, and this man went out and got 3 belts. Yeah, he made some mistakes, but he went out and got 3 belts. Went to go get that last one. And if you want to include the ring, okay, that last one plus that cherry on top, which would be the ring. Went got that last one, and since he got beat up, he wasn't shit. His whole career diminished, and now it's okay to diminish everything he did. But they want to get out here with knee pads for somebody that's getting ready to fight somebody that got 11 fights in the pros, man. Let's keep the same energy, y'all. Hit dogs holler. That's it. That's all. That's all I can really say, man. I put the link out there. I gave everybody, anybody who has something on their chest to get it off. You didn't want to do it, but I'll be back real soon. Mash, y'all, thanks for tuning in here at Bodywork Boxing. But we don't take things for face value. We do that body work.
He didn't want to box. He wanted to actually prove that he could punch with you. He was like, what the fuck is this nigga doing? Oh, okay, you want to go to sleep. You tired.
Welcome to